Hello, once again, YouTube. Wisco Boater Chad here. It's hopefully going to be a big day on the tugboat build. My goal is to get the sides of the boat, which are back here, on the bottom of the hull. I have a plan of how I think I'm going to do this. I hope that it works. So we'll see. I'll get started here and wish for a good outcome. Everything is currently level, left to right and forward aft. And actually, I take that back. I'm gonna have to re-level just a little bit. I got good level forward to aft and I'm off just a little bit, left to right, starboard to port. So let me see what's going on with this. My leveling stick came out when I moved it. I forgot when I moved it. I scooted over just a little bit so I can work both sides. One of the pains in the asses of working in a small space. Jeez. So I'm just using paint stick and thick popsicle sticks to level it as it sits on the cradle. So we're level in the back and level in the front. There's still some, ow, just gave myself a splinter. All right, level. Need some really thin nails. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come on. 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 is fine. If I can find a 10th one, that'd be perfect. And there's number 10. Okay. So I've got 10 very small, very thin nails. And I need it to be thin because I'm going to be nailing into the post, which is, the post is thick enough, but the quarter round, it's only 1/2 inch quarter round, and that is, I think it's going to fracture if I use a big nail. In the bottom, around the bottom of the hull, here, how's this going to go? Here, where the sides connect, I'm going to use drywall screws, but they're the very small, very thin ones. That should hold everything in place while epoxy cures. I'll try to adjust the camera angle as I go around so you kind of see what I'm doing. But I'm going to do the port side first, which is that side, and then I'll do the starboard side, and I think you'll get a better view of how I do this on the starboard side. So I'm not going to worry too much about it on the port side, I'm just going to do it. And then I'll come over to the starboard side and try to explain it a little bit better, I think. Okay, so start by setting this up right about there. And slide the whole thing as far as I can that way first, because I just can't get this tight space. Makes this bend really difficult. I didn't think it'd be easy, but I was hoping it wouldn't be difficult. Extremely difficult. I have a feeling. Gotta pull these staples out first. Alright, well the instructions don't say anything about epoxy or resin. To do this step, it just says to nail it in or screw it in. So that's just what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start at the top of the stem, see if I can throw a nail in, and then get it to make the corner, make the curve, while keeping it flush along the bottom. And then I'm imagining that the strength of the sides comes afterwards when I install tapes along the bottom, inside and outside. God damn it. Okay, and it's not going to work. Nail heads are too small. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is take these nail holes, I'm just going to drill them out. Make a little bit more room for actual screws to go in. Yeah. Beer. Alright, so we'll try this again. Make one last little hole for the last screw on the bottom. So the plywood cracked a little bit along the bottom, which I figured it probably would. The instructions say that you don't need to leave nails or screws in, but I may just leave them in. Put some putty fill over them, fill it in, smooth it out, and fiberglass over it. You'll never see them, they'll never know they're there, except those of you that are watching this. But I think that's probably the most secure way to do this. I'll show you where it cracked here a little bit. Alright, well, it didn't go as awesomely as I had hoped it would, but it's on there. So, you can see if you look straight down, there's a little bit of a curve, kind of comes forward a little bit here. That might go away when I do the other side, might not matter. This is what I'm talking about. That's great. Wood split down here. I think if I just fair this up with some fiber, with some filler, I think that'll work. The bottom is flush all the way back. Port side's on. We'll put the starboard side on, and then I'll figure out what to do from there. It's kind of a learn as you go experience, I think. So what I'm doing now, probably what I should have done on the other side, would have been a little bit easier. By drilling a hole in line with my foot holding the front in place. So I know for for sure I'm hitting the mark. All right, a little different view to finish this out. I'm down on the bottom of the hole here. And this side's actually coming out much nicer than the other side. I'm probably gonna have about an eighth of a difference in height, but you'll never be able to tell, so. Except because I just told you, YouTubers, that's what the difference is gonna be, but it's nice and flat. It's nice and flush, I should say. Because I'm using this right here to be sure that the bottom is flush with the bottom of the side is flush with the bottom of the boat. Light bulb moment. Should have done it on the other side, but oh well. Not a big deal. It'll still float. I've lost my music. I can hear Frank Sinatra playing inside that I have Frank Sinatra playing for my dogs. Okay, well, it is now screwed on the bottom. I'm going to leave that right there because that will make sure that the boat doesn't tip over when I step into it. So now I got to put screws in right about here to attach it to the front bench. This is kind of a guess. Got it. I don't think I'll leave those screws in. Once I get the inside fiberglass, I should be able to remove those screws. Because they won't be necessary. This one is a total guess. Slightly low. So I've got a couple of holes I'll have to fill. And that kind of stripped the hole a little bit there. But like I said, that screw will come out for sure. I'll get the bench fiberglass to the inside. And then the screws on the outside won't be needed. I'll fill those with some fiberglass putty. And cover them up with fiberglass before it gets painted. Looks like from the inside. Might move my sweatshirt out of the way. So there's the bow. See if I look down the sides here. Nice and flush. Focus. Focus. Nicely comes around the bend. Flush all the way to the front. Same thing on that side, all the way back. So, next is fitting the transom. And then I'll take, after the transom is fitted, then I'll take it all outside and around the corners on the bottom. And then I can start fiberglassing. So I'm just gonna leave all those screws in place along the bottom. And probably leave the screws in place up front here too. Those screws that I put in, the nails just would not hold. This side turned out a lot better than the other side. Didn't crack the wood or anything, so, but I think still putting a bead of fiberglass filler or wood putty or something down the front of the stem, that'll smooth that out anyway and make it look nicer. That'll get cut off. But I think I have the same curve. I don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, it's the same on both sides. So that's the main thing. Looks great. Looks really, really good. I did not video the transom install because it was, I mean, it's kind of boring, but there it is. It's in. Same thing as I did with the sides. I just ran screws in through the bottom of the transom and then up the sides. Just a couple screws. I do have a little bit, I was afraid that I cut this radius just a little bit off center, and turns out after it's installed, I did. But what I'll do is I'll just mark a line and just kind of ferret out so that it comes even with the side. So the excess here that gets cut off, there's excess on the bottom of the transom that gets cut off. This will, you know, that'll get sanded down, and I'll end up with a nice smooth rear end of the boat. I'm really happy. Everything came together really nicely. You can see the line here along the transom is exactly the same as the line all the way around the boat. And while it's not fiberglassed or there's no resin or anything in place yet, it's all held together by screws right now. The fit is spot on all the way around. Minimal gaps. I mean, we're talking 1/16 of an inch. This is actually the biggest gap right here. And it's probably, I don't know, it's not even an eighth. It's between a 1/16 and an eighth. So this is looking really good. My neighbor is going to come over here shortly, and we'll flip the boat over. See if I can get back far enough. Here we go. We'll flip the boat over so that I can trim off the back portions here. That's going to get cut. That side needs to get cut. The bottom of the transom gets shaved off, flush with the bottom. And then while it's upside down, I will put a 1/2 inch radius all the way around the boat. 1/2 inch radius looks just like this. But yeah, the whole bottom edge of the boat, all square edges get a 1/2 inch radius. So while it is upside down, I will be putting that radius on it. I am going to move it outside to do that. So when my neighbor comes over tonight, we're going to flip this thing over inside here, and I'm going to put the stem, while it's upside down, I'll put it on a creeper, and then the back, the stern of the boat, I will put on a sawhorse. I'll just lift up the stern end of the boat and hopefully be able to roll it around on the creeper as it rests on the top of the stem while it's upside down. So hopefully my goal is, my plan is to be able to move this around by myself, upside down, out that door, and then do all the cuts and radiuses, and then move it back in. I'm gonna leave it upside down because I need to put fiberglass on all the edges after the radius is done. Because if you don't put the radius in, the fiberglass is not gonna lay down nicely. So it needs a 1/2 inch radius for the tape. This stuff, this is 2 inch tape, but I'm gonna buy some 6 inch tape, and I'll put that down around all the edges. And once that's cured, then we'll flip it back right side up, and then I'll go around all of the inside. So everything here is gonna get fiberglass tape, everything. And I'll finish covering up the bench, the kickboard for the rear bench, and then at some point I'll build the rear bench seat. But the rear bench seat probably will be the very last thing I do, because the batteries have to go in. There's 2 batteries that go on either side. The trolling motor, which is right there, will go in. So I need to do the plumbing for the trolling motor, all the wiring, run some PVC pipe for the wiring to sit in. I got to build a tube, push-pull tube for the controls because that trolling motor, which is brand new, gets cut in half. So yeah, brand new trolling motor. Take a pipe cutter to it and cut it in half. Cut the wires and then splice everything back together. So I'm really happy with all this. It's turned out so good. You know, a little bit disappointing with that little bit of the top of the transmitter sticks up a little bit too far just because the radius is off just a little bit. I think I cut it. So if that radius is off high, that means that I cut it a little bit. The radius is a little bit biased to the starboard side. So that side matched up perfectly, and I just didn't quite get the curve. I don't know, you can almost kind of see it. If you look at it just right, you can see that the radius curves down a little bit better on that side than it does that side. So anyway, super happy with today's work. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a boat. Pretty awesome. We'll be tugboating in the spring. All right, so here we go. The tugboat is upside down. My friend Jeff, neighbor, just came over and helped me turn the thing over. It was not too big of a struggle, but we got it done. And again, the reason that I did this is because this edge here has to get a radius. It's exactly the same radius that's on the stem, a 1/2 inch radius. That'll do with the router. We'll go all the way around every single edge, route it to a 1/2 inch radius. The screws will be out of the way. I'm not really sure yet how I'm gonna get around this, because the router is gonna come along here and hit that, pop out, come back in, and continue routing. So I'm gonna end up with probably about that much space that I'm gonna have to sand to that 1/2 inch radius. It might hit it here too, in this corner. That's gonna be a pain in the ass. Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll route it. I'm not sure, it depends. I don't remember how wide the base of the router is, but so I went to sand there, and then also at the back. So anyway, the corners, as they are sharp right now, get all routed. That gets cut off, flush with the bottom. This gets cut off, flush with the back. And then I'll fiberglass all the seams with some 6-inch tape that I have. I'll probably place the order tonight on that. And then it'll be time to turn it back over and start working on the interior a little bit. But it's interesting to see this thing at this point, because, you know, earlier today it was just the deck of the boat, and now it has sides, and now it's totally three-dimensional, and it's a large piece in this small room, but very exciting. So today I did the routing and cut off the sides and the transom. As the video just showed, the side here stuck out at the end, and the bottom of the transom actually stuck up a little bit. So they were cut off flush, and then I routed the entire bottom. I was gonna video it, but then I thought it's just gonna be a bunch of noise, and I probably just have to play music or something as I fast forward through it all. It took about an hour to cut the bottom of the transom, cut the sides, and I got a little bit more sanding to do there. There's a little bit of an edge. Not a big deal, but it came out really nice. Even around the keels here, I was able to turn the router around and use the thin side, and it just went right by it. So everything came out great. Really happy with this. So I did chip the plywood as I came around this corner for some reason. I don't know if I had the angle just a little bit off on the router, but I'll fill this in. I got a few little gaps here, so I'm gonna put some filler in that gap all the way up to the front. And then the transom also has a gap, and I'm not really sure how this happened, but it's up against the wood on the inside, but the angle, I just didn't get it screwed in quite right. I think I probably have it tilted at about 10 degrees. This is a 12-degree bevel, and it's already flush and cut, matched up to the side, so I can't change it. But I'll just put some filler in there as well. And then put the, I'll sand the filler, and then whenever the tape comes in, I will get it all fiberglassed and turn it back over, start working on the top side again. So pretty cool. Her name is Ferrari. Hi, we call her Ari. She thinks we're going somewhere, but we're not. There's the update for the sides and the transom install. And I'll be back again soon with another video. Until then, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw. Send me some comments. I always love hearing from people. And can't wait to get back at it next time. See you soon.